Welcome back to another episode here on the Voodoo Podcast. We are into September. It is right around the corner, and what I am talking about is the haunt season. It's here. September, it's official. I think I even said it in the August episode. We are here, and we are, I don't know, combing the waters with this one to find a familiar face. Actually, we only heard his voice last time because it was only an audio podcast, but now we get to see his lovely face and maybe a little bit of sneak peek of his yard. Please welcome a haunt builder right around the corner from myself here in Schaumburg, Chad Stechly.
Hey, guys.
We are super excited to see what you have going on, and I wore a little bit of a different shirt just to commemorate. We talked to you, gosh, I think it was 2 seasons ago now, so 2023, and you were doing a Voodoo on the Bayou theme with your front lawn.
Yep.
Every year you change the theme. Last year was Wild Wild West, I believe.
Yep. Old West Ghost Town was last year.
Yeah, and this year, for the 50th anniversary of a certain movie, take it away. Tell us what you've got.
Well, for the 50th anniversary of a certain movie, you might see some of the pieces in the background here. I am doing Jaws. It has been one of my long favorite movies. I was 2 years old when it came out in 1975. So I just wanted to recreate some of the great scenes and pay homage to a great movie that stands by itself to this day, I think.
I got to get it out of the way. I got to go with, we're going to need a bigger boat for this podcast. You knew it was coming, right? So,
oh yeah,
it looks like you've already started, and that's great. You've got a shark fin there. Oh, you've got the barrels there as well. What was
actually
that?
For that shark fin, that's actually based on the dimensions from the movie. So that's the actual shape and size of the shark fin from the movie.
Oh wow!
And I'm 5'2", and it comes up to, I'm sorry, 5'8", and it comes up to like my waist. So
wow,
that's the actual size of the fin. So picture a 25-foot shark underneath it, which
that
I
is
don't have time to,
incredible.
which I didn't have time to build.
Hey, well, we're in September, so there's always still time, right? That's always what us haunt builders are always saying is, yeah, I got that. I got time for that next project, right?
ain't nobody got time for that. So.
So that's a little bit of what you've got. How much have you repurposed? Because we talked to you last time, and you're always talking about repurposing all of the materials that you've used from the years prior to incorporate all of the Jaws elements into your display this year.
I recycle and repurpose as much as I can because I am on a budget since I do build everything myself. I set it all up myself. So my materials are basically scavenged as much as possible. Most of my wood comes from pallets that I break down. But other than that, other pieces that you look around and find, you might see them from elsewhere, like my harbor buoy. That's actually built from the train from last year. So the train engine became the bottom of the buoy. And then the shark cage you see in the back, some of that was part of the grill from the Voodoo on the Bayou. And it was also from parts of the cage from when I did my pirates scene. So other than that, there are specific pieces that you have to get, like barrels. Trying to get 4 barrels and repurpose those, that was a lot harder to do. So I had to buy them.
Where do you even buy barrels?
Got them on offer up from a guy, so just look for 55-gallon drums, and somebody had them. So actually, you'd be surprised how many people actually have them out there. But yeah, so there's just certain things that you have to get. There's one piece that's on the side, which is part of my beach scene, because right now my yard is split up from the driveway. On one side of the driveway is the beach, and where I'm at right now is the water side. So,
gotcha. Are you going to have, I'm sure, very themed lighting at night too, to really make that water side seem like you're out at sea?
Yep. At least that's the idea. I've got all the swirling blue lights that are going to be recreating the water effect, and just some other lighting. but I will have regular lighting up some of the things so you can see them better at night. So,
All right, I want to jump into our Zombie Zap segment that is sponsored by Frank and Fuel. And this is where we kind of talk about what is fueling you. Now, we know it's your love for the movie Jaws and of course, the 50th anniversary that's fueling you to do the setup. But what is actually physically fueling you? When do you start building this and setting up your display? And how are you staying awake? Because I know it's a lot of long nights. Any kind of caffeine or good food to keep you going?
coffee and adrenaline, uh, for the most part. But other than that, it's just what fuels me is the excitement and knowing the joy that it brings to other people when they come see the display. Like last year, I was dropping hints to people and letting them know when they came by, and they were all excited and they love Jaws just as much as I do, and they can't wait for it. I just hope I do a good enough job presenting it. As looks good in my head, but whether it actually comes out on in the display itself is a different story. But like I said, I'm trying to do the best I can and be as authentic as possible. So that's more or less what fuels me. Like I said, that and really coffee does a good thing too. And you said, when do I start building? That insinuates that I actually stop. Um, it's a continual process. Believe it or not, I'm already starting next year already. I have next year's theme, and I already started acquiring and started getting supplies, and haven't quite started building yet because I have to finish this one first. But yeah, it's continuous. And then for my setup each year, it always starts on Labor Day weekend, so I can open up by October 1st. At least that's
Okay.
the goal.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I had asked you that question last time on the episode,
Hmm.
so I figured you'd have the same answer of being year
Yeah.
round. But yeah, the fact move over giant shark project. You're already thinking of the 2026 projects already. Do
Yep.
you have any hints as to what 2026 could be?
Um, Well, 2026 is going to be another fun one. And I like when I can do those fun ones where it doesn't have to look like anything particular that you don't have to make, like people recognize. Like when I did Pirates, I was able to do my own thing. And same thing with the Old West Town last year. That was another fun one, but that was my one of my biggest builds to date yet. But next year has to do with racing. Let's put it that way. And it was inspired
Interesting.
by a song, a movie, and an old cartoon show. Believe it or not.
Interesting.
So, yeah,
Still haunt themed though. Still Halloweenish.
yes, it'll
Hmm.
still be Halloweenish, but it'll be a little bit of fun. It'll be a little crazy. Um, but yeah, like I said, I try to make my displays kid friendly, shall we say. I still like to add the spooky element to it, but still make it kid friendly. Because even though I don't have to deal with them when they leave here, I don't want the parents to have to deal with that, and I want them to come back year after year to see the new display. I don't want them leaving here scarred and be like, "Yeah, we're not going back to that house anymore." No, I want them to come back, because I had people that come back. Oh, we've been here 5 years in a row. We've been, this is our sixth year coming, or we always got to stop by. So that's what I want. And every year they come by like, oh, I remember last year this was here and this was here, and so that's another thing that fuels me. So like I said, it's the giving everybody fun and excitement and everything else,
Yeah, you
and
mentioned
I try to make it educational as well too.
that's a big thing too, because I think, so many people have forgotten what that movie Jaws really did to the film industry to kind of revolutionize things. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people. I've had some talks with some of my friends that are like, the Beatles are overrated, and it's like, but you don't understand, like they were doing things that hadn't been done in music before. You think they're overrated now because musicians are doing all of that now. Same thing with a movie like Jaws, where, okay, yeah, sure, we have all these big CGI battle scenes and everything, and IMAX movie cameras and all that kind of stuff. But at the time, what Jaws really did was unheard of, unprecedented,
Hmm.
and revolutionary in not only the film industry but the horror industry as well. I think a lot of those elements are taken into how you set up, of course, new scary movies and new movies in general, new action shots and practical effects, but also those same effects get carried over into a world like the haunt world when it comes to the haunt world. And it's cool that you're doing it right on your front lawn as well. So like you said,
Mm-hmm.
that fuels you, the community fuels you, and of course coffee and stuff fuels you. So that's our
Yeah.
zombie zap segment presented by Frankenfuel. We'll jump out of that now, but you mentioned a little bit of how you didn't want to scare the kids, and you want to promote the holiday in the last time we talked to you and here as well. And I think that's super important because you hear about it even at the major haunts that are sometimes, a little nerve wracking, I think, for some parents. What age am I starting to take my kids out to these haunts and stuff like that? And a lot of the actors that we have on always stress that if you can't scare somebody, you could still at the very core entertain them. And especially
Mm-hmm.
with the little ones, you don't want to scar them for life and ruin the holiday for them. So that age range that you have in your neighborhood, you cater to that really well. What are some of the I mean, I'm sure it's all ages because it's the parents involved as well, but what does your usual customer base look like when they're coming to see your house?
I get all age ranges from people bringing their 5-year-olds out all the way up until even kids that don't even know what they're doing, what's going on yet. They're, still in the car seat and all that. And I even get the older adults that come back and it brings back memories to them. Like one of my neighbors, he's like, oh man, he's like, that's how actually my parents met. They met in a movie theater when Jaws was showing. She was the candy girl and he was the projectionist. So, it's just some of the things I like doing is preserving horror history and presenting it in a way that will hopefully get the kids involved and get them excited and want to learn more and keeping Halloween alive and horror history. Like when I one year I did slasher films, I did Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Leatherface, and all that. All the adults were walking around and they're like, "Oh, this is so cool," and the kids are like, "Who is this?" And I'm like, they recognize Chucky, and that was about the only one that was like around now for the current generation. So that inspired me to next year to do classic monsters, reintroduce them to Dracula, Frankenstein, and Wolfman, and all that. And even then, I had the adults that instantly turned into little kids. They're like, "Oh, I used to watch Svengoolie and Creature Feature all the time, and we're gonna go home and watch Frankenstein." Kids are like, "What?" Yep, no, you're gonna love it. Trust me. So that's part of what I do is, keeping the Halloween tradition of decorating alive and keeping it fun, keeping it educational, and also keeping the horror history alive, of celebrating all the old horror movies that paved the way for all the new stuff that's out there now. Like I said, Jaws in its 50th anniversary, it was re-released in the theaters last weekend. For a 50-year-old movie, it still came in number 2 in the box office and made $8.1 million this past weekend. So that goes to show you that it's still a great movie and it's still pulling in people.
It stands the test of time. I know my mom, she's going to kill me for telling the story, but it made her scared to get back in the water. She was, not that she was the biggest swimmer, but, she'd enjoy going out and going to the beach and stuff like that. And nope. After that, it took a while to get back into the water because of how scary Jaws was. But I think you look at some of the numbers these days and people can take some solace in the fact that, like, and not to make light of any kind of shark attack injury or anybody who's lost somebody because of a shark attack, but the numbers are way lower than you think. But you're
Mm-hmm.
immersed into that world when you're in that movie, and it's this almost supernatural feeling shark. It's larger than life. It's this big creature that just like all the other creature features that you were talking about. And by the way, I think when I have kids, straight out of the womb, first thing they're going to be seeing is Svengoolie and creature features. I think that's kind of a rite of passage. Like, all right, you're here now. This is yours.
Mm-hmm.
You got to pay attention. Start taking notes. But as far as that movie went, like it made it seem like it was way more prevalent, and this shark was almost like a Michael Myers because it was like you can't take it down, right? You could make Michael Myers fall out of a window, shoot him with a shotgun, he's going to get right back up. This shark, it was like, the classic line, we need a bigger boat, but like, they're trying to reel this shark in. They're trying to take this shark down so that they could save the people on the mainland, and yet nothing is working. It's not your typical fish that you're trying to fry. So,
Hmm.
what I mean, you mentioned the little anecdote of you're touching upon people's personal lives too. That there's people that that have created a family over this movie being the real starter and the candy girl. But what has your personal experience been with Jaws?
Um, like I said, I was like 2 years old when it came out. It was 1975. I remember seeing it at the drive-in. Um, but yet it's just, it's a classic, great movie. That's what draws me into it. Everybody's, they're talking about rebooting and redoing movies and that, and some of the movies are getting redone now. This is one movie that I think can stand by itself, you know, because I think if they did it with CGI, it just wouldn't be the same. I mean, you have John Williams doing the soundtrack. You had Steven Spielberg, who was a very young director at the time, who was also a genius, and he's brought many great movies to the theater since. So it's just a great movie, great dialogue. It's fun. Um, it actually got me interested in sharks, just like how everybody watches Shark Week on Discovery now. That has now
Yeah,
become a big thing, and everybody loves learning about sharks. Although I think Shark Week has kind of gotten away from learning about sharks more than it is like, oh, hey, who's our guest, person that's and being goofy stuff about it. So, but I still want to maintain the integrity of the actual sharks, that they are a great part of our ecosystem. You got to respect them. So, and then usually, because my displays, I collect donations. That's why this year for Jaws, I'm actually collecting for the Atlantic White Shark Conservatory in Massachusetts.
that's
So
awesome.
actually, that'll help. Um, you know, they actually do research and try to keep people safe and keep the animals safe and everything else. But yeah, it's just, as Hooper in Jaws said it, it's really a beautiful thing. It's just an eating machine. So that's kind of the great thing about Jaws and the sharks in general.
Yeah, I know you've had aquatic creatures in your display before when you did the Voodoo on the Bayou, and you had a really nice uh, idea with that. You took like some saran wrap and you made it seem like it was the level of the water, some green lights, some alligator, pieces coming in and out of the water to make it seem like they were half in, half out, but then also a
Hmm.
fogger underneath there to make that swamp fog and that bayou smell. Do you have anything cooking in that sense for this Jaws adventure?
Not anything like that. Most of the stuff that I'm going to do this year is more detailed pieces. So I want people to walk up to the display and know exactly what each scene is that I'm recreating. So we're going to have some movement, some non-movement, and like I said, with the lighting, that's going to be the big thing. So I will have a couple pop-up scares, shall we say? Not going to give any information away, and not going to give away all my secrets because I want people to stop by. Um, so I'm not trying, also not showing everything that I have out here, but there's enough out here to, people, I still get people driving by slow to see what's happening. And it's just enough to, get people like, oh, we got to come back and check this out. Because if I put everything out right now, they're like, oh, yeah, we already saw it. Don't need to see it anymore. So it's still early enough, but yeah.
Interesting. All right. Yeah,
So,
we're definitely going to make it over to you at some point. I know you are listed as always. I don't think the Haunt Builder list has come out just yet, but you're on pretty much everything, right? When it comes time to season.
yep. I'm on the Chicago Hunt Builders list. I'm also on WGN actually contacted me again this year. They want to put me on the list again this year. They asked for an update. I'm on mykidlist.com, hauntedillinois.com. So I'm even on lists I don't even know I was a part of. And apparently I'm on TikTok too, and I don't even have a TikTok thing. Other people come out here, they film it, and they put it on their TikTok, and all of a sudden I start getting videos, and I'm like, wait a minute, really? So it's kind of cool. I'm part of a road rally that I didn't even know I was a part of until one year people were jumping out, running around, looking crazy, and I asked them what was going on, and they told me. So this is one of the must stops and must sees on the road rally in October.
I don't even know how you get on the road rally because we were on that as well, and we saw so many people. We're more of a walkthrough haunted house.
Hmm.
So I mean, with yours, it's much very much so a walkthrough on the lawn. People can kind of come out and see everything that you have, but people weren't jumping out of their car and going through our actual haunt and seeing everything that we worked on because they were racing against the clock basically, and
Hmm.
they had to get to the next house. So I was a little
Yep.
disappointed on that. So I was like, I'll come back. But for yours, yeah, that's interesting that they've done that. But we'll see which item they're looking for in your display this year, of course, because they've always got
Yeah,
a
because they
task, I
actually
think.
have to answer a question so they know you went to the displays. So apparently the people that put on the road rally come out to my display before they actually have it. Because the one
Ah,
year I did Pirates, I had the skull archway. And the question was at the house, how many skulls are in the archway? And
yeah.
that's when I was standing there like, oh, did you build this? I'm like, yeah. They're like, how many skulls are in there? And I'm like, I don't know. I just kept adding stuff until I ran out of room. That it got me thinking. I'm like, all right, let me count them. And ironically, it wound up being 13 skulls in the archway. So,
It's too
but
perfect.
yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's pretty cool. So
if whoever runs this road rally is listening in by any chance, contact me. I'd love for you guys to not only do the road rally by us, but after you're done, come on through Voodoo this year since it is our final year on Vassar. I've said that so many times before, but for sure, this is our final year on Vassar. We plan on doing Voodoo again sometime in the far future. It just won't necessarily it won't be here. We've really reached our limits as far as what we can do, and I'm super excited for everybody to get to see what we have planned for this year. We've maxed out the space that we have, and also I think maxed out the budget that we have. I know to be open, we usually spend somewhere between 2 and 3 grand a year doing our display because like you said, you have to change things up. We have to change things up because we're a haunted house and we want to keep up with things. And we haven't spent that yet. We're getting there. Of course, it's still September. We're still buying things. We're still constructing and stuff like that. Um, you repurpose a lot, so I'm sure your budget is a lot lower than that. How do you manage? Kind of set a goal for yourself in order to like what you're going to spend versus what you're going to repurpose.
um I really don't set a goal for myself, and I honestly don't keep track of how much I spend. I really don't know if I want to. Um, but I repurpose as much as I can. I'll look at some things and be like, oh, I could use that. I could reuse that. Or, I'll look ahead for some things that if I know what my theme is like for next year, I'm like, okay, I can use this for next year. It could be this. Um, but there are some things I do have to replenish, certain building materials and stuff like that. Or if I'm building something that I didn't have a lot of before, I have to buy more lumber, especially 2x4s, PVC tubing, and more EMT conduit, because that's usually what holds up most of my structures and anchors everything into the ground is using EMT conduit. But yeah, stuff like that, I'll have to replace and replenish, or if I'm building something specific and it's like, okay, that requires specific materials and stuff like that. That's when I have to fork it over. So, but I
Yeah,
do it as inexpensive as I can. Look for the best deal and find out where I can get it at the reasonable price. So
we actually it's so funny because the last time I had you on the podcast, we had just run into Steve right around the corner here at Slingerland Slaughterhouse at Home Depot. And just this past weekend, when we had our last build here at Voodoo, we ran into Steve at Home Depot. And the way I'm saying it, you would think this man works there, but he's not even doing his haunt this year. So some of the supplies and materials that we were looking for, he said, just borrow them from me. So we ended up going into Home Depot with a goal, realized the majority of what we were going to get from Home Depot, he was just going to give to us to let us borrow. So we were like, okay. So instead, we're just going to get a couple other items. Our budget opens up so we could get these other items, and we got out of there. But that leads me to another point: is one of the things we talked about when we had you on last was how much your display and Steve's display have really opened up the Schaumburg world of haunting and Chicago haunt builders. You start to see all these other houses pop up, whether they're listed or not. Somebody gets the itch by seeing one of your displays, and then they go and decorate themselves. So it's a nice little tradition, and it gets people back in the decorating sense. Because I think when I was younger, there were a lot more houses decorated, and people have kind of pushed it off, and they're too busy with everyday life, and you don't see as many houses decorated these days. But now there's been a cutback this year. It sounds like the Boxwood House is not going to be doing their display. Steve is not going to be open with Slingerland Slaughterhouse. Voodoo is coming back. You're always there right up the block from us, off of Wise on a G and Drive for anybody looking to make their way out to you. But then also, since actually, I don't even know if they were at Boomers. I think they were at Boomers by the time we had you on, but the House of Creeps is in the Schaumburg Boomers Stadium. I'll be there later tonight to go cover Boomers baseball. So they better win this championship quick, and then we get to haunt season. And I got a chance to guest act with them last year. It's a great family over there, the Hayes, that let us in, and they do a really nice job. But now it's just Voodoo coming back, House of Creeps, and Fear of the Dark with your 50th anniversary Jaws display that I think are really the only listed houses here in Schaumburg. There might be one on Hartman that I know that lists with us. I'm not sure if they're listing yet because, like I said, the list hasn't come out. But the Schaumburg community has taken a little bit of a hit with the Boxwood House and with Steve not doing theirs. So it's nice to see you still carrying the torch, you know?
And I think we still have another. It's actually when you brought up the fact about people coming by and start decorating. I have actually had a couple people that are new to Chicago Haunt Builders say, "Hey, we came to your house, and that's what inspired us to do it." And that's what like one lady I saw her at MHC, and she mentioned she had her husband with, and she's like, "Oh, this is the guy whose house I went to that started me decorating." I'm like, "This could go either one of two ways.
Yeah,
Either
right.
A, he's going to be really mad that I'm the guy that got her started in it, or B, be really cool about it." But he wound up being really cool. I don't really want to mention I don't want to name drop any other names for people, but there is another house in Schaumburg. They've come to my house a couple times, and they are now Chicago Haunt Builders. And they
All right.
decorate their house Stephen King style.
Ooh,
They're big Stephen King fans, so they represent different movies and the stories of Stephen King. So, and I don't have an exact address off the top of my head. Hopefully that we'll see it on the list. So,
that is awesome and also very timely because 50th anniversary of Jaws, of course, is timely, but also you just had on Netflix, I think it was last year that it came out, was The Fall of the House of Usher, which is a Stephen King novel that they adapted. It was the same creators that did Bly Manor and Haunting of Hill House, and I enjoyed both of those. And also, what was the religious one? I can't think of Midnight Mass. I believe they also did Midnight Mass, but I loved pretty much all of those series. Bly Manor may have had its slow points, but Fall of the House of Usher was absolutely phenomenal, and it adapted those Stephen King novels. Or was that Edgar Allan Poe?
that
Yeah,
was Edgar Allan Poe.
that
Stephen
was
King
Edgar
had the
Allan Poe.
Shining.
What I'm thinking of, excuse me, yeah, I should know my Edgar Allan Poe versus my Stephen King. Stephen King wrote another novel that was just adapted into a movie, which was, and I'm blanking on the name of the movie, but it had Tom Hiddleston in it, and actually a couple of different major actors. Um, oh gosh, it's gonna haunt me. No pun intended. But I just saw it in movie theaters. I went in not knowing that it was a Stephen King novel. So
hmm
when I saw his name light up, it wasn't inherently a haunt related or a horror related work of his. It was kind of off that beaten path. It had some scary elements in it. It had
hmm
Mark Hamill in it. He played a really good
Okay.
character and a lot of really good, good Oh man, it's gonna haunt me. Hold on. Tom Hiddleston, movies and TV shows. The Life of Chuck. There it is. Came up right away. Other than
Okay.
Loki and Thor. I went in having no expectations, not knowing what it was about, and it was mind bending. I think I've talked about it on this podcast before, but that was Stephen King. Sorry, Fall of the House of Usher, of course, is Edgar Allan Poe, but for them to be doing a Stephen King themed display is timely because this movie came out. Have you gotten to go and see any movies other than, of course, Jaws recently in the horror genre, or even this Life of Chuck?
Um, I recently did go see Jaws last weekend. But other than that, getting out to the theaters, I actually started watching The Monkey, which is another Stephen King. Just
Mm.
started watching that, didn't get a chance to finish it. But other than that, I have not been out to any theaters to see any movies recently. So
It's tough
been
because,
busy working on the yard and other stuff. So I
right.
usually don't have a lot of free time. Thankfully, Jaws was a 10 o'clock show, and so that's when I went to go see it. It was on a Saturday night at 10 o'clock.
There you go. I have a lot of friends that are, I'll say, adjacent to the haunt world because they love all things Halloween and spooky, but they think that what we do, I don't want to say they think what we do is easy, but they think we have all the time in the world because we're setting up a haunted house, so we must be into horror movies, so we got to go out and see these horror movies. And I heard Weapons has been pretty good. I know there's the new Conjuring that has come out. Like you
Hmm.
said, Jaws is back in theaters, and all these people keep running back to me going, "Oh, this is so great! You got to go see it. You got to go see it." And I'm just kind of sitting here like, I'm behind on the Terrifiers. I'm behind on the Conjurings. I have not seen Weapons. I heard it was phenomenal. We have
Hmm.
so many other people that are like, "Oh, are you going to Hollywood Horror Nights?" It's like, where's the time? Because you and I, we're building our displays, and I've got a great team behind me that we've been moving at a great pace despite my broadcasting schedule with so many sports going on at the moment. But I think I've got like 9 games in 8 days or something like that.
Oh.
It's crazy. It's nuts, but it's fun. And then we have to get back to the other fun, but the work of setting up the display, and there's no time for movies. However, there is another Black Phone movie coming out, which looks really good. I'm gonna be
Hmm.
honest, I have not seen the first one, but I know the premise, and that
Okay.
one was scary enough. It's
You
coming
know
out right
that's
before.
along the lines of Stephen King too. You know that's his son that did Black Phone.
I did not know that. Okay,
Stephen King's son did Black Phone. So yeah,
okay, I could see where that. Yeah,
that's King-ish. So it's
yes,
still in
yes.
the family, but not Stephen himself. It's his son that did that one.
Would that make him Prince? No,
No, he
but
actually goes under. What does he go under? He doesn't. I don't know if he actually goes under King,
oh,
Joel Hill or something like that. So, which I think is, I don't know, the mother's maiden name or something. So I don't think
interesting.
I don't think he rides on the coattails of his father. That's why he goes under his own name.
So that's
So,
where King of the Hill was derived from. I get it. Okay. No, just kidding. I'm
maybe.
kidding. No. Interesting. Okay. Well, I'll have to keep that in mind because I do want to go
Hmm.
see, despite not seeing the first one, I do want to go see this second one. And it comes out right before we open. So unless we're doing last minute touch ups to Voodoo, which as the creator and a lot of the visionary, I'm sure our groups will definitely be like, oh, well, we could touch this up and stuff. So we'll work
Hmm.
through midnight that night before it's
Yeah.
showtime. So maybe it would be irresponsible to go see the movie. But hey, maybe if we have a good opening night, we'll go that next night or something like that because we're going to be getting a chance to go and see a lot of different professional haunts throughout the weekends leading up. And actually, we don't have too many professional haunts on the weeknights that we are open. So, hey, maybe when we close down at 9 or 10 or even 11, we go out and see something after the fact. But I know one of the things we will be seeing is your display. Do you have your hours set for this year already? I know you said you open October 1st.
Yeah, October 1st, we will be running the entire month of October, weather permitting. In case we have like severe storms or heavy winds, we will go dark and be shut down just for safety purposes. Um, but other than that, we are open every single day, Sunday through Thursday from dusk or pretty much anytime now. Because I always tell people to come out and see it in the daylight and come out and see it at night. You'll see two different displays. because one in the daylight you can see all the smaller details, and at night is when it comes alive, shall we say. That's when I have all the sights and sounds and smells and everything else. I try to hit as many things as possible. I haven't figured out how to do taste without freaking people out yet. Everybody says you hand out candy, so I'm like, okay, there's my taste element. But but yeah, so Sunday through Thursday, I will be open from basically 5 till 9:30 because I do have neighbors. So I'm trying to be respectful for them. And then Fridays and Saturdays, I am open till 11 o'clock. And also with Halloween being on a Friday this year, that's going to be awesome. So we will be open till 11 o'clock on Friday on Halloween and open throughout the weekend of November 1st and 2nd as well. So,
Okay. Nice. Yeah, we're open November 1st for just the way the calendar falls this year. We tried not to. The one year we did end up keeping open after the holiday, but I believe the Halloween fell on a Saturday, and then you roll into Sunday, everybody's Halloweened out, and you compete with NFL
oh, don't
and
say that.
football.
How can you get
And
Halloween out? Come on now.
you're right. Yeah, I don't know what these people. No, come on now. Yeah. So, but we are staying open to November 1st this year because that is the Saturday, and we will be doing our Christmas display. So, Voodoo on
Nice.
Vassar will become instead of VOVNON, naughty or nice. So that'll be a nice little conclusion to our time here on Vassar. Um, Taste. I know you've tried to incorporate taste before when you did maybe like the Wild West theme and you had those barbecue smells coming through. Or I think it was the Voodoo on the Bayou. You
That was
had
voodoo because I had my cannibal barbecue shack.
right, yeah. Maybe you can have some. I don't think it's mahi mahi, but what is cooked shark? Flake, whitefish, grayfish.
Yeah,
Um,
anything because actually shark is since it's endangered and it's actually a very expensive dish for the shark fin soup kind of thing. But so I
right.
don't really condone that part. But yeah, I don't think handing out pouches of tuna fish this year would be, be pleasing at all. I don't know how many takers I'd get.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Especially, yeah, since you're donating to the Shark Conservatory, and then also, yeah, just I'm allergic to most fish, so I probably can't even eat shark anyway. So I'm not
Okay.
advocating for it. Uh, that would be a really scary Halloween for me if that was the case. But also, yeah, you don't want those candy bags to smell like tuna. So
Yeah.
that's probably a good move. Better that way. But yeah, like you said, you hit all the different senses, which is incredible. Obviously, sight and do you have any sound going on in your display?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I compiled a playlist this year of multiple different soundtracks to make the ultimate Jaws. So that's, a John Williams soundtrack. Plus, I also have sound clips from the movie itself that are going to be intertwined, and also an extensive soundtrack, including like some of the stuff that people rarely hear, like the stuff they played on the beach during the Fourth of July celebration in Jaws. So this is like the compilation uh, shark thing, shark soundtrack for it. So I can't think of anything else other than playing John Williams. And, no, we're not playing Baby Shark. That is not going to happen. I don't care what kid is coming by and no, that is not happening. Uh, so, so yeah, we're just gonna stick with the basic Jaws music and clips and everything else. So,
There you go. I know Ice Nine Kills does one song that is, of course, they have a song for each uh, horror movie as they go down the list there, and one of them is a Jaws themed song. I can't think of the name of it right now though.
hmm, I'll have to check.
Uh,
I'll have to look into that.
but yeah, so that might be. I don't know if it'll be fitting with all the John Williams stuff, but that being Jaws as well might add to this display a little bit. It's so cool that you are taking on this project. I know you've been talking about it for a number of years now because I mean the anniversary has been marked on the calendar.
Hmm.
What has been the hardest theme that you've done that you could think of? Because you've been decorating in Schaumburg since 2018, 2019, around then, right?
Yep. Um, it all depends. Every year is different. This year, for it being Jaws, and I actually want to do a good job on it. It's putting in the details to make it look authentic and to make it look, as real as possible. But last year, the old West Town building, all the buildings that I built and, the covered wagon and that was the biggest build that I ever did. It was the most stuff that I had to build. And then with the treacherous winds that we get around here, trying to get, 8-foot building facades to stay up and anchored in. So that was a little bit harder. So each year comes with its own set of trials, and there's little things that make it difficult. So that's why I look forward to the fun ones where it doesn't have to be anything. I could just do whatever, and nobody will expect anything more. Nobody expect anything less. It'll just be a fun display.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, we're excited to come and see it. This is a perfect time though to jump into the Voodoo Personalities segment, which is sponsored by our haunt here, Voodoo on Vassar. I don't know what I'm going to do next year when we don't have the haunt. I guess it'll still be sponsored by Voodoo on Vassar, but it won't exist. The Voodoo Personalities segment will. So we want to talk a little bit about Chad. You're doing Jaws, but do you have a favorite, an absolute favorite scary movie, horror movie flick? It could be Jaws too, but what is one that you've always taken the biggest liking to?
Well, Jaws for one. Anytime it's on TV, I'll watch it. No matter, if I've seen it hundreds, thousands of times, and my wife actually hates watching it with me because I can do the whole movie beginning to end. She hates it. But another one, I go old school. I got to go with the original Halloween, 1978. Yeah. I'm a John Carpenter buff, so love John Carpenter flicks. So the original Halloween is one of my go-tos as well.
Okay. And then you're, of course, a home haunter. So you get down and dirty. You use your hands a lot on all this kind of stuff. So you've got some skills. What would you say you use the most? I know here at Voodoo, I'm always drilling things into walls. I think we use a staple gun quite a bit. What are you using? Because I know we've had a couple of interesting haunt builds for the Chicago Haunt Builders where we've learned how to create different things using wiper motors and PVC and even welding. So what would you say you use most, or what are you best at when it comes to building your display?
So I've actually been building displays for a long time, even before Schaumburg. I used to live in Streamwood, and at that time, before I came across foam, before there was a haunt builders group or anything else, I used to build everything out of wood. So basically, carpentry is my thing. Using my circular saw and a drill are my two biggest things. Other things that I use a lot: zip ties and EMT conduit. And it kind of makes them look at you weird when you go to Harbor Freight and you buy out all the zip ties. And especially when you tell them that, hey, you ran out of duct tape and I needed zip ties instead. Sometimes I chuckle and I'm like, yeah, you never know how big people's hands are, so I need the various sizes. And they just looked at me. I'm like, nah, I build Halloween stuff. I have to throw that in there. Sometimes it makes them laugh, and sometimes they just look at me even worse. But yeah, other than that, most of my stuff is fabricated. Like I said, I'm a carpenter by trade. I do maintenance and stuff like that. So it's just kind of most of my stuff is built and fabricated. I use a lot of screws. So I have one drawer full of different sizes, and I go through all of them. So
yeah, we had a very similar experience. It was actually way worse though, because we went to Walgreens first to try to see if they had Gorilla Tape and zip ties. They did not have Gorilla Tape. They only had regular duct tape. And I was trying to explain that duct tape is just not going to cut it. It has to be much stronger than that. So right then and there, it looked like an even bigger psychopath. But then we decided, all right, we're going to put the zip ties back. We're not even going to buy anything here at Walgreens. We're going to go to Walmart. And it's a much bigger store, a lot more people. We're going to get a much bigger thing full of zip ties and a much bigger thing full of Gorilla Tape. So I looked like I had several hostages in my trunk of my car or in my backyard or in the garage, in the basement, something like that. But we made it and we're good. So all the hostages are tied up in somewhere behind me in this podcast. No, kidding. Everybody, your children are safe.
If I was with you, I would have really got you in the store and be like, hey, this will hold up the body. I
Yeah.
would have been that person, like really getting you like, oh God, we got to go somewhere else now.
How big is the third hostage we have? Do we have that big of zip ties? Do we have anything bigger? Yeah.
What's the
Oh
biggest
my God.
trash bag they got now?
Do you guys have any chloroform while we're at it? We need a couple of rags as well, right? Um, oh man, oh man. Last personality question I will ask you. We kind of talked about you handing out candy. That is your sense of taste that you have at the haunt. Do you have a favorite candy, whether it's one that you hand out or one that you receive during Halloween?
Um, I well, when I hand out, I make sure I have little bit of everything. Like last year, I ran the gamut. I had chocolate, I had non-chocolate items. I even had cans of Pringles. I had like fruit snacks because a lot of times I get, parents are bringing their 1-year-old that can't even eat candy yet and doesn't even know what's going on. So I had like fruit snacks, chewable fruit snacks, which are also gluten free. So I try to have a little bit of mixture to, appease everybody. And believe it or not, when I got the high schooler kids, they went after the Pringles. They love that. Um, but yeah, and for my go-to, I'm not a chocolate person, but I am a sucker for Kit Kats, but I also like Skittles. Those are my two snack treats for candy.
There you go. We just had Jacob Blinko on the podcast not too long ago. He is Cog at Hell's Gate, and he was raving about Skittles as well. Have you had? He was telling me that there's
Freeze-dried
this
Skittles.
the freeze dried, yeah, the popped, right? Have you had
Those
those?
are awesome.
Okay,
My
I got
wife,
to get to
my wife
those.
thought they were healthier for you because they're freeze-dried. I'm like, sure, if you think that, go for it. It's almost like a Cheetos puff, but Skittle form. It gives you that nice crunch and it's just like puffy and you get the flavor and it just makes it increases the size and makes it bigger because they take all the moisture out of it. But they're really good and they're addictive.
Interesting. Okay, all right. Yeah, I guess looping into this voodoo personality segment, we'll ask you a question. How crazy does the wife go with Halloween? And we know Holly is always kind of in the loop with all this stuff. She'll go to the Chicago Haunt Builders shindigs and stuff like that. But is she looking at you like you're crazy at this point with all the lawn displays, or is she jumping in? I know she loves it too. So
She jumps in because like I said, on the weekends, on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, I like to be out here in the display, talk to people and all that. She's watching the cameras, be like, "Hey, somebody's out there. Go talk to them." I'm like, "I'm eating dinner." I do have a life. I have to. And then she runs out and she talks to everybody. So she likes seeing all the different people coming through, and a lot of people she went to like high school and grade school with stop by, and so she reconnects with a lot of people here. Because she was born and raised here in Schaumburg. She's lived there her whole life, so she knows a lot of people. So she also likes to decorate the house inside. I get the outside, she gets the inside. So, but yeah, she's always like, "Oh, you should do this or try this." But she's pretty understanding about the display. That's another reason why I don't keep track of my budget either. Um, if I have to divulge that information, that's not gonna be pleasant. But yeah, no, she's pretty good about it. And like I said, she enjoys seeing the amount of people. It's really cool when you actually can pull up Google Maps on just your basic street and you see a traffic jam with the red line going through your street. So I had one person, they said, yeah, it took me 15 minutes to get home, and it was like not even a quarter of a mile because they had to get through all the traffic and all the cars. So.
Oh my
She just
gosh.
loves it. She takes pictures. We get buses that stop by, and just groups and hordes of people coming through, and it's really cool. So yeah, she supports that because she's like, "We're the fun house. Everybody comes by us." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, sure, fun house in a
Well,
different way." But
we'll make sure to send people over to you as we typically do, and put your listing out in front so that they get a chance to come and see you guys as well. Because what the work you've been doing over there is truly amazing, and
thank
we
you.
can't wait to see it this year. So,
Sounds good.
can
I'm
folks
looking
find
forward to
you?
having you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll have to stop by in the daytime too, because I think we've only done your display at night. But like you said,
Hmm.
it's a different show daytime and nighttime. So I'll have to
Mm-hmm.
pop over there one of these afternoons. But can folks find you anywhere on social medias? Of course, we talked about the lists as well, but can they find you on Facebook, or you said you were even on TikTok, so you got to start doing those TikTok dances,
Yeah, well, I actually got to figure out how to open up a TikTok account anyway. So, because like I said, everybody else puts it on there from their accounts. I'm like, okay. But yeah, I am on Facebook. Fear of the Dark is on Facebook. It's a page dedicated to the haunt. Uh, on that page, I do a lot of when I'm working on props, I give teasers and that on props that I'm working on. It also has all the albums from all my previous years. So all the pictures from previous years and stuff like that. And little props that I've worked on. Because I started out a long time ago doing um, I started out doing makeup and special effects. So I have some of my pictures in there, some of my costuming in there. So it's a little all over the place. And speaking of costumes, I'm working on one right now. And if you actually are doing Naughty or Nice, I might have to come by and help you out.
Yes, absolutely. Come on by whenever. You get to leave your lawn a little bit more than I think maybe some other haunters do, right? Or do you stay mostly when the display is up?
I stay mostly when the display is up.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, I don't like the one shirt I've seen, I can't. It's October. That's
Yes.
pretty much our thinking. So I have people, oh, come on over. It's like, yeah, but it's the weekend. I got to stay here for the hunt. So, but yeah, because
Okay.
I do get dressed up in costume according to the theme. So last year I was a cowboy, and the year before for the voodoo, I was the voodoo witch doctor kind of guy, which I believe you saw me as when you guys stopped by.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, this year I will be in costume for Jaws. So
Nice. Awesome. Well, yeah, and for the naughty or nice thing, yeah, even if we get you for an hour, we'd love to have you with us for our Christmas theme. I think I know what you have planned because I believe you've shown it to me, but we'll keep it under wraps for now, and we'll force
mhm.
everybody to come out and see it in person. But well, I'm excited, like I said, to come and see you guys, and we can't wait to get over to Fear of the Dark on Aegean Drive. What's your address specifically again? Not to
It's
get thrown.
1017, so 1017 Aegean Drive.
Okay. Yeah, right up the block from the Village Tavern that has those world famous chicken wings, chicken tenders. So if you're
Hmm.
in Schaumburg and you're familiar with it, yourself, House of Creeps, and Voodoo on Vassar over here, all within a few miles of each other, not even. So you can hit all three within the same night. And then, like you said, the ones that are doing Stephen King are right up the block here as well. Everything's pretty close here in Schaumburg. So, and
Hmm.
if the Hartman ones, I feel bad leaving them out. If the Hartman house is up this year, I haven't seen any listings just yet, but they're literally right around the block from me. So just like Steve was, unfortunately, Slingerland's not open, but you can hit five houses in a matter of 25 minutes. Including the time that you take to go and step out and see the displays. Definitely do that. Don't just sit in your cars.
Oh yeah. I always encourage people. I'm like, walk up, walk through, take a look, see, look at all the work that was put into this. And then sometimes they have little ones that are like, no, we're good watching from the car. We're good. So, but I encourage people get out, walk around, take a look, but yeah,
It's not Christmas lights. You don't have to sit in your car because it's cold out. You can't see
you never know.
everything
We've
from your
had snow on
car.
Halloween, so you never know.
Oh, no, let's knock on wood that that's not happening. But hey, actually, that would probably work out pretty well for your display, though, because technically it is a form of water. So, there you go. We
Yeah.
just,
It would
I
work
think
out
you,
for you too, for your naughty or
for
nice.
naughty or nice. Well, if it's the Saturday, if it's on November 1st, I'm okay with that. If it's on
Yep.
the Friday beforehand, no thanks. Let's keep it still
Yeah.
Halloween themed, right? Like, but yeah, no, definitely get out of the car and see the hard work that a lot of these haunters have done. Some are synced with your car radio, so you can stay in the car, but still step out, still see all the display. It's warm
Hmm.
enough to do it. That's what Halloween is all about. Get the jump scares. You want to just see it from the boring old spot in the passenger seat.
Yep.
But, well, awesome, Chad. Thank you again for jumping on. We're happy to have you back. People have been begging me to do repeat guests, and I'm so glad you are one of them. I had it on my calendar because I knew you were going bigger and badder with Jaws. So
Thank you.
we'll send it over to your house one of those evenings with a much bigger boat this time.
Sounds good. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Dance with me. I wanna dance with you. You wanna dance with me? I wanna dance with you. You wanna dance with me? I wanna dance with you. I wanna. You wanna dance with me? I wanna dance with you. I wanna.
Welcome back in to the Voodoo Podcast. My next interview here is with a man that you will find roaming the grounds at Disturbia. We've talked to a lot of members of Disturbia, but I don't know if we've talked to quite as unique of a gentleman. We have talked to supposedly the number one DJ in all of USnA, but I think this man actually takes the cake for real. You used to find him roaming the line. Now you'll find him up in the DJ booth, which has been elevated this year, which is pretty cool. I was just guest acting with him Saturday night, and he has grown in the ranks of Disturbia to become one of the leaders over there in Downers Grove. Please welcome to the podcast, Sam Kalbfleisch.
What up? What up? Thanks for having me on.
How's it going, my man? I want to, of course, get the cookie cutter questions out of the way. When did you start haunting? What was your first kind of inclination to get into like Halloween and the haunt industry?
So it's a little bit ironic. As a kid, I was pretty sheltered from a lot of that stuff. Like, I never watched any of the scary movies. My parents never let me go through any of the haunted houses, anything like that. And then kind of as I got older, a close friend of mine, Luke Chesney, who's a makeup artist and actor at Disturbia as well, he used to run a home haunt, and that's kind of what got me started. And it was 2020, Sunny Acres Farms were having sign-ups for actors for the Haunted Hayride, and him and I both live like 5 minutes from there. So we were like, screw it, let's go like check it out. So I started out as an actor on the Hayride, and then we acquired the barn from another haunt. So Sunny Acres there's the Hayride, and then there's the haunted barn. Another haunt that was called Psychosis basically rented that space. And in 2021, we got the barn. And so for 3 years, I was in the barn, and then that's where I started being a tech. I worked there a couple of summers. So it's where I learned pretty much all of my carpentry, painting. I learned some electrical stuff. And then I don't want to say I was plateauing, but I wanted to do more stuff. I wanted to be a little bit more extreme because Sunny Acres is very family friendly. So we were sort of limited to what we were allowed to do. And Luke has kind of gotten me into most of the stuff here. He was guest acting at Disturbia for some of their holiday events. And so I tagged along it was Summer Screams 2023. And then I went back, acted the season at Sunny Acres, and then I did the Christmas haunt at Disturbia that year, and then Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's Day, so on and so forth. And then I joined Disturbia last year full-time for their season.
Wow. Okay. I thought you had been there full-time for a lot longer with your stature at Disturbia and your responsibility. I mean, it speaks to all of those skills and those tools that you learned at Sunny Acres. Of course, I jumped into Disturbia last year as well, just to guest act a couple of nights and, roam around during some of the holiday or the off-season events. But man, so when was this what year was that you started at Sunny Acres?
2020, pandemic 2020. Year.
Okay.
We were able to open because we were an outdoor attraction.
Gotcha.
And so if you spaced people out on the hay rides, you could still operate with all the precautions that were in place.
We saw a lot of those hay rides that were able to, or at least transition into a hay ride. Some of the haunted walks and even like car washes around the area were starting to have like a spooky car wash go through, like, because, you could stay in your car. So it was it was beneficial for pandemic years. I do remember hearing about psychosis, and I feel like that was it very short lived, and then it became all just Sunny Acres.
I think, and I'd have to ask another one of the guys who works at Disturbia did work with psychosis. I think they were around for a few years. I think it was like 20, I want to say 15. I could be totally wrong here, but I think they were around for a few years, but because of COVID, they couldn't open.
Right.
So, and then I think they just, I don't know if the farm wanted the property back or they were done with it, but in 2021, we got it back and then it was fully redone and it was pretty cool.
I went to Sunny Acres as a kid. My parents remember telling me, or I remember them telling me, and I have not been back since. It's been on all of our lists. I saw Haunted House Chicago was just there, I believe, last night. Of course, they walked through Disturbia with you and I there on Saturday. I was just talking to Chris because it never fails that no matter where they go, like I end up being there. Last year, when they went through Hell's Gate, I was there. And where was I when they also went there? I mean, they came to Greenbrier. That was kind of set up because it's a home display, home haunt. Co-host on the podcast, Matt Nossed. But it seemed like everywhere I would go, like they just happened to also be there, and it was coincidence. And this Saturday night, Disturbia was slammed. You had Haunted House Chicago pulling up. You had the Lost Souls bus tour with Japes Pals, and then you had Scare Factor that came through. And then on top of that, I guess there were some complications with Frankenfuel going elsewhere, so they decided to just come set up shop at Disturbia, and that was smooth sailing for them. So you had everybody there at Disturbia. Yeah. I know the season started earlier on, but was that so far your guys' craziest night?
Yeah, it's been a little bit slower so far, and I mean it's still really early. Most of the general public kind of isn't really in the haunted house mindset just yet, but that was definitely our busiest night. But I'm up in the DJ booth, so I don't know what's happening on the ground or in the house. I'm just in my little corner. So from what I heard, it was pretty smooth. And then they said they talked to the Frankenfuel guys, and they said that like last second they, I think, messaged our owner David, and they were like, "Hey, can we like come vend at your haunt?" And they were just like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So
yeah, absolutely. I was tempted to go over there and get a shot of energy fuel myself.
I was drinking one on the stage.
Were you really? Oh,
yeah.
I should have gone. I should have just gone and grabbed one. Mike sponsors the podcast, so we will get into the Frankenfuel segment. But before I do that, I wanted to talk about, because before you were a DJ, you had your own characters and you did roam around either the outside or within the haunt. What are some of those actor roles that you've played in the past, and do you have any specific characters that you go to on the usual?
So I do still act in the line sometimes. I DJ Fridays and Saturdays at the haunt, but any other days, and there'll be more later in the season when we start operating more during the week. I have a war, like not a specific war, more like 1940s, 50s-esque fighter pilot. His name is Jeff. I don't know why. Some girls in the 8-year-old girl in the line was like, "You look like a Jeff," and I was like, "Great, that's the name," because I'm not creative like that. And that's kind of just my excuse to be a complete idiot and just yell at people. So that's just kind of like just my mess around character. I have the new for this year that goes along with our new room. I have a Minotaur priest type of deal named Mythos, and David kind of wanted that to be one of our icon characters because it kind of coincides with what's happening in the house. And then that's really all I have. That's a lie. For Christmas, and this is going to be a thing that happens every year now, I dress as that annoying kid from Polar Express who wears the yellow sweatsuit and has the glasses and the slick back.
Yes.
And it's funny, I looked up on Wikipedia what his name was, and on like the fan wiki, the name of the character is literally just like annoying kid. So pretty much everybody I talked to was like, you need to do this every year. It was really good.
That's interesting. So we have a friend Brandon that also does voodoo with us, and
Mhm.
everybody says that he reminds them of. Sorry, Brandon, but they remind everybody of that annoying kid from Polar Express. I never realized he
Yep.
never got named. I guess he was just being annoying and talking too much. That nobody ever asked him. But yeah, I do remember you last Christmas jumping in the line as that. That's
Hmm.
hilarious. Are you thinking, because with your last name, are you thinking of a flesh character or like some kind of zombie play on the last name?
Well, it's interesting you say that. The Minotaur more or less actually goes with my last name because
Oh,
in German, my last name means flesh of a calf.
okay.
So calf, cow, Minotaur, close enough. So that's probably about as close as I'm gonna get. But I mean, I guess that works. Yeah.
I get you. I get you. So that's your acting side of things at Disturbia.
Hmm.
As you mentioned, you have so many tools in your toolbox. You learned from Sunny Acres, and now you take with you to Disturbia. You're usually one of the few with an earpiece in throughout the night. But what are you typically doing at Disturbia? What are some of your roles when you're not acting?
I get there. I'm one of the first people to get there on haunt nights or well days. So basically, I set the lineup outside. Most of like all of our animatronics and other stuff that gets packed into the garage where the bathrooms are. So I pull all that out, get that set up nice. I set the stage up, get the sound running, get the lighting running, and then I'll also go through the house and I'll turn air on. I'll check for any air leaks. Um, Usually we have a list from the night before of stuff that gets reported to us that needs to get fixed. So I'll work my way through that and then just kind of, pick up and make sure everything is functioning as proper and no one's going to get hurt in some way and we're not going to get sued. And then during all
That'd be very
season,
important.
I help build at Disturbia as well as at Basement.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're in a basement
Mm-hmm.
as well. I
Yep.
remember hearing stories both from David off the podcast, but also Tyler on the podcast. And I can't remember who else we talked to from Disturbia that was mentioning the ghost room, which is now 2 years old. But they
Mm-hmm.
were talking about how all of those pipes were taken from basement, and they were just going to be thrown away for that organ in there.
Yeah. So the owner of there's like a bar restaurant above Basement called Valley Doyle's,
Mhm.
and Basement used to just be like the owner's storage area. So there was just like a bunch of just random shit down there. And I guess there was an old pipe organ that they were going to get rid of because where this was stored is where the makeup room is in Basement now. That got renovated. And
Okay.
so we took a bunch of the pipes and the actual like organ itself and we installed it in the not I wasn't there yet for when this room was built, but the other people installed it in there. So it's cool. Our fabricator Bill rigged up solenoids so that some of the pipes actually blow air when you step on the pad. It's on a momentary switch, so it makes a note. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite rooms, especially because I hear a lot of the cast kind of like questioned, oh my gosh, like we're doing just a ghost room, it's not
Mm-hmm.
all that scary, That's like you throw the sheet over your head and through cut the holes in the eyes and go boo, right? But no,
I
it
think
works out
there
really
is
well.
there's a little bit of a whimsy to it of like the old sheet ghosts,
Yeah,
but the way that it's done, I think, is just it's so aesthetically pleasing. It's like it's very like period correct. Everything in that room kind of makes sense. There's just so many weird little knickknacks and stuff. Like the more you look around in there, there's just so much stuff. But no, I really like that room.
yeah. Well, that was cool. And then you guys went over and above this year and added a nun room. Did you have any hand in building some of that? And what can you tell us now that it is open to the public and people can come out and see the new nun room?
I had quite a bit of a hand in that. So that room took a while. I think it took us a little bit longer than we thought it was going to, but um, So we started it after St. Patrick's Day because that was our last haunt, our last off-season haunt at Disturbia before Summer Screams. So we did what we could in there beforehand, and then we actually walled it off. I made a passageway that basically goes alongside the room and around because we couldn't get anybody through there yet. It wasn't done. And then after Summer Screams, it was just on the grind. We built a full, like, crazy wood frame, put, pool noodles all over everything, and then everything got spray foamed, and it has, like, texture paint on it. And there is, I think, 36 different nuns in that room.
Holy moly.
Don't know how we fit that many in there, but we did. It was
I
a
took
lot
a
of
walk
me
through.
and David going, all right, where are we going to put all this stuff?
Yeah, no kidding. I took a walk through towards the end of the night, and I checked out a lot of like what you guys had changed, just because I didn't get a moment to jump in there at all, even when some of my friends were going through. And man, it is impressive. I have to come back out and see it, even just as a guest, or come back with you guys again and take another peek. But yeah, it's impressive. That's such a challenge too when you're one of these haunts. We talked about how cool it is that you're one of the haunts that does a lot of off-season events, but it makes for a tough build schedule during the off-season because, like you said, if you're not done with something, you got to kind of wall it off and make it temporary while you're doing an off-season event. So have you ever had to do something like that before, or is this kind of such a big project now that it was maybe a little bit more that you guys bit off than you could chew?
That I had not had to do anything like that before. We also redid our butcher room, which we weren't planning on doing, by the way. But a few of our guys and David, there was a haunt that was closing in Indiana, and they had a 1950s laundromat conveyor that they bought.
Wow.
And so we were like, all right, we need to put this in the haunt. This is sick, but also it's huge, and we need to get this out of the way. So that we pretty much had to fully deconstruct the butcher room and the kitchen to get that installed and then rebuild around it.
Oh my God.
But that was, we had to pretty much pause on the nun room because we wanted to get butcher room done by Summer Screams. So
wow. Okay.
And I think in the future, that's kind of what we're aiming to do, is to be able to get one of our builds done like between like St. Patrick's Day and Summer Screams, and then the next room that we're going to redo or next area or something is going to get done after that before the start of season.
Gotcha. Yeah, that would probably make a little bit more sense. But when you're looking at something, and like you mentioned, you got a couple of new shiny toys, well, relic shiny toys, I should say,
Yeah.
that you want to incorporate as soon as possible, then yeah, you're working on two separate fronts. That haunt that you were talking about that closed in Indiana's Reaper's Realm, I was there for their last night of their existence. Halloween night last year we went through. It was actually my first time going through. It was always a haunt that I had heard on the radio. They did a lot of advertisement. They're basically Chicagoland area. They're literally like right over the border. And I could definitely see how they were one of those original haunts that had those classic rooms where you weren't really immersed into the scene. It was maybe sometimes behind a wall, but they were adapting to the new age of haunts as best as they could. And it was still a very good show, even on its last night. And it's sad to see it go, even though like I was only there the one night and seeing it in its finale, but I could definitely see why it was beloved. And man, that one will be missed because Reaper's Realm, I think, walked so that a lot of haunts today could run. And it's a pioneer in the industry. So it was cool that it was funny. A friend of the family actually put me on to, there was I don't think it was OfferUp. It was one of those like, not eBay or Craigslist, but like it was one of those sites where you could go on and buy stuff on auction.
It's like Facebook Marketplace or something.
Kind of, yeah. But these things, you could bid on them, kind of like eBay used to be a little bit more of that. And it was all this stuff from Reaper's Realm. And the person that was showing me, they're like, yeah, I don't know where this haunted house is, but like all these pieces. And I'm looking, and I look at the address, and I'm like, oh, of course they're selling all this stuff. This was Reaper's Realm. And not even a week
Mhm.
later, I think it was it your Snapchat story and a couple others from Disturbia? You guys went out there and started picking apart what you guys were buying from Reaper's Realm because you got a chance to go out there, right?
I personally didn't. I was
Oh,
working that day, but from what was sent in our build group chat and then what I saw on people's stories, I was like, "Oh wow, y'all bought a lot of stuff."
yeah, yeah. You talk about the conveyor belt. Do you know of anything else particularly that fans can see walking through that they would maybe recognize from Reaper's Realm that you guys have now incorporated?
The only thing that you might recognize, because most everything that we bought has been repurposed and like either turned into something different or um like built into a room. The only other thing at Disturbia that you would recognize is there's this old rolling fire hydrant from like the 50s that's like right in front of our like hospital area. I
Okay.
I don't know if that would be right. It looked like it sat outside for at least a decade. So I don't know if anybody would recognize that thing. And then at basement, there are a couple of animatronics that came from Reaper's Realm that got put in the Fallout shelter at basement.
Gotcha. You guys also have a wall that Nick Chains has told me if it ever gets touched, even after his tenure, maybe in the future, long future, not saying he's leaving Disturbia by any means, but he's like, if I'm old and gray and this ever gets touched or moved, he's like, I'm throwing hands, basically, is what he was kind of saying. And it was a wall from, we were just talking about Reaper's Realm in Indiana, but one of the other stalwarts in the Chicagoland area was Dream Reapers, not to be
I
confused
am
with
very
Reaper's Realm.
familiar with Dream Reapers. I actually worked at Sunny Acres with a lot of the crew from Dream
Oh,
Reapers. The guy who I learned from with all my like the technical side of stuff, he built Dream Reapers. The guy who managed the hayride and the barn at Sunny Acres, he managed Dream Reapers. I was friends with a lot of the actors who were there. And then a lot of our the skull walls that were in the crypt that is now the nun room, those were original Dream Reaper walls. And there are
right.
still some. The room is still lined with those original walls,
Okay.
but some of
Yeah.
them got broken up and tossed. But over years and years of abuse and foam breaks down and wood breaks down and they get broken. We had to scrap some of it, but there is the Dream Reaper's walls do still live on at Disturbia. Nobody panic. It's okay.
Good, good. Yeah, I actually didn't pass through. I guess I did because I did look at the nun room when I was cutting through on Saturday, but I guess I just didn't realize where I was cutting through. So yeah, that's nice that there's still that homage paid to
Mm-hmm.
Dream Reapers. Are any of those Dream Reapers cast, are they still at Sunny Acres or have they also moved on to their respective haunts now too?
No, I think quite a few of them are still there. They're more in management positions, but
Gotcha.
yeah, I
Okay.
still keep in touch with them and like we'll chat once in a while. But yeah, we're all kind of doing our own thing.
We see Dream Reapers folks sprinkled throughout the haunt industry, and if they're not the actual person physically sprinkled, it's somebody that they taught or they trained growing up at Dream Reapers who, they've passed the torch to and are now doing their own thing. So it's
Yep.
interesting to see how something like that lives on, and you see a lot of it at Disturbia. Um, One of my other questions, I'll actually jump into the Voodoo personalities segment with you right now. We're going to dive into a little bit more of your personal life, which
Okay.
includes, unfortunately, your
Oh
parents
God.
had to meet Val and Tino when I was that Italian character for Valentine's Day, and but
Yeah, they brought that up to me the next morning when I was talking to them about that. They were like, "Who was the dude? Just like this, like super Italian dude in his underwear?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's Mike."
oh my gosh, in the underwear. Yeah. So I met your parents for the first time in my
Mm-hmm.
underwear. That's always a great first impression. But they on the staying on the personal side of things for you, they got a chance to come out and see you work your craft from the
Mm-hmm.
DJ booth and from the line. What was that experience like to be able to have family there for you?
It was cool. It's obviously it's a little bit nerve wracking because I'm like, oh shit, that's my parents. But um, it was funny. I kept telling everybody, I was like, go get them. They're standing in a corner. Those are my parents. And then they kept going up to my parents and not scaring them and like asking personal questions about me to use against me later. And I was like, you motherfuckers. But no, that's cool. They said that they're gonna try and stop by at least once during the season just to watch because my parents are not haunted house people. uh, they do not react well to being startled. So I forbode them from coming while we're open. But they've come through during our isolation nights, which are no actors, just to kind of because they like the scenery, they like seeing everything that's happening. But other than that, I'm like, you can stay outside.
Are you there at all for the nights of isolation? Because I know those are nights of no actors. We really haven't touched upon those here on the podcast, but we can even go into a little bit of those because I feel like there are some
Sure.
listeners, maybe with younger kids or are in the same boat as your parents, where they don't like to get startled. So maybe those are
Mm-hmm.
the nights that they want to show up to Disturbia.
Yeah, so it's 3 Wednesdays in October. So this year, I believe it's the 8th through the. Hold on, I'm pulling up my calendar. I don't
The
know
eighth is
dates.
a Wednesday, 8,
Mm-hmm.
15, and 22. Are those
Yes,
the
those are our three. They're nights of isolation. We're open from 7 to 9, and basically we run it as the regular haunted house. Just we have no actors, so like we're all out of costume, and it's basically just we let you in and you just walk the path, and everything's up and running. All the sound, the lights, all the animatronics, all of our other mean things that we do to scare people. But yeah, I don't know if I'd necessarily call it kid friendly, but it's definitely more. It can be geared towards a younger crowd,
Gotcha.
obviously
Yeah,
with proper parental consent and advisory.
yeah, it probably bridges that gap a little bit better. You're not
Yeah.
going through one of these, not to put anybody down, but like, even like a Gobert's haunted house, the one here in South Barrington is, a kiddie haunted house. I grew up on Bankston's haunted house over in what's the Homer Glen is the
Okay.
suburb over there. So some of those are, of course, the pumpkin patch farm
Yep.
haunted houses that are just catered towards the families that come there. But at the same time, now you're getting to experience a real haunted house just without, I would still say the scariest thing, of course, is the actors because humans get
100%.
the
Yeah.
best scares. Anything actor based is going to get a larger reaction because humans are much more unpredictable and much more creative in some ways. But yeah,
Hmm.
with what you guys have in the haunt, you're still going to get startled by this animatronic or that air cannon or that loud
Hmm.
noise. So
Yep.
there's still so many elements. Here at Voodoo on Vassar, we do a lot of different effects. We cater to effects, especially in the garage. And I think Disturbia does a really nice job of that as well. Whether it is a laser swamp that leads into like a circular laser, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
I noticed you guys added like a little bit of a shaking elevator before that room now too.
So that elevator has always been like that since
Oh, okay.
the Senecers bought Disturbia in 2020. But basically, it uses it's a motor. I think it's like a settler for some type of construction thing that I don't know about. But basically, it's a giant air piston that moves up and down, and it shakes this room. And the room's on airbags. It was
Gotcha.
just it broke, and then it was just not connected for a little while. It was just kind of a elevator. But our plan was we want to get this thing back up and running. So our fabricator Bill like totally redid all the air to everything. He got that motor up and running again. I went in for a couple of days and just like totally redid the paint job. I redid the lighting in there to make it look more like a service elevator, like a freight elevator going down into the sewer. And yeah, that's one of my favorite spots because it's so unique. Like, I know obviously elevators have been done, like Dungeon of Doom's got one. Terror Roulette, when it was open, had theirs that quite literally took me off my feet because they said, let's turn the air up all the way. So
yeah.
But I haven't felt one that can vibrate like that.
No kidding.
So,
yeah, we've seen one at Evil Intentions when they were here in Elgin. You mentioned Terror Roulette. Rest in peace to them. They had the 1 year.
Real.
We actually had their producer and creative director on early on in the podcast days, and we're so excited to have something right here in our backyards. Other than, of course, Evil Intentions is always great, but then of course they've now moved out to Maple Park, and they're starting anew basically over there. But I when I walked through this time, I was like, I didn't remember it being there, but of course, like you said, it has been there. It just hasn't been on. So to be using that thing and getting people right into one of the most unique laser swamps I've ever seen, because your laser swamp is elevated. That's pretty cool as well, and it's nicely done all around. So that's good. The other personality stuff I want to jump into with you is you are, like I said, the #1 DJ in all of USnA. Don't tell Ariush, don't tell Tyler.
Trust. I called Tyler after I listened to that podcast in my car, and I was like, cousin, what the fuck do you mean number 50? You piece of shit. And so now that's just become the joke. This year is I am number 50 DJ.
Number 50 DJ.
Yeah, because that's what Tyler said on the podcast. And so obviously I gave him some shit for it, but it's funny.
I'm gonna have to go back and edit that episode, make him say one.
No, leave it. Trust, it's funny.
You gotta climb up the ranks now.
Hell yeah. But you know what's funny is on my DJ decks, there's sample pads that like different noises, so I can do the, Disturbia Haunted House, like between songs and stuff. I let Tyler record Ariush #1 DJ, and that's actually a sample button on my decks now. And I'm like, once a night, I'll let you come up here and I'll let you press the button.
Now, I know he was
nobody understands it other than us, which makes it even funnier because everyone's like, who the what?
What is going on?
Yeah.
Did that play on Saturday night? I didn't hear it.
Yes, it did.
Oh, damn, I missed it.
While the bus tour was in line, Tyler came up and pushed the button.
Well, I know that Haunted House Chicago, Chris Dorobsky, and Japes Palace, both former guests of the podcast. I'm sure I don't know if they've caught that specific episode, but they would catch on to it, especially because they know who Ariush is at this point. You have your usuals. That is hilarious.
They laughed at him. I heard last year's story of when they came to Disturbia. Haunted House Chicago was, I guess, a guest had gotten sick in the line, and they obviously sent Ariush with the janitor cart and the sawdust. And we didn't know this, but Tyler is very squeamish when it comes to human bile that has exited the body. And so now he's trying to stay in character while also dry heaving, cleaning this up. And apparently Chris was like peeing his pants laughing. They thought it was hilarious that this happened.
Oh my God.
They're very aware of Ariush.
We talked a little bit with Tyler about that visit and how much HHC liked them, but I didn't realize that he was actually getting squeamish and actually kind of staying in character while breaking character, doing one of those dirty jobs,
He was trying. I unfortunately, I was working the rules room that night, and I wish I saw that because I probably would have broken character. I would have had to go inside and laugh.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny. Well, the DJ stuff that I wanted to jump into with you, of course, a lot of that I believe was built up by Psych Jam, right? And you've kind of just taken over with your own stuff now. What is your usual go-tos? You mentioned you kind of just focus on that rather than what's going around necessarily with the haunt, but do you kind of play off of the vibes that are in the line, and then also throw in some of your own, I guess the word is je ne sais quoi with that.
Okay. So Psych Jam still does his thing. He just, because he's in Florida and he's got, his DJ stuff and his media stuff, he's really busy down there. So, but Psych Jam still does stuff at Basement.
Right.
But he was kind of my inspiration to be able to do this stuff, because I went to Basement, I think, in 2021, and I was like, wait, you can do that? And I was like, oh, that's sick. I got to do that at some point. But no, yeah, Psych Jam still does his thing, but he's over at Basement. I'm over at Disturbia. There's no, I'm not trying to compete for any spots or anything like that there.
Right.
But yeah, I'm still working on this, is I do what at least I call it, is freeform DJing. So I'll switch between genres and tempos and stuff like that. So I try and read the crowd as best I can. Obviously, when you're 10 feet in the air looking down at people not looking at you, it gets a little difficult. But I try to have, a mix of stuff that I know are crowd pleasers, but also stuff that our actors are going to like and be able to vibe to. So I try to put a little bit of everything in there. But yes, because I am the DJ, I do throw a little bit of my own stuff in there.
Yeah. Is that a lot of the stuff you're listening to on a regular basis, or just to kind of get you psyched for haunt season? What's your usual go-tos on the playlist?
I am a massive house music head. I listen to house pretty much all day, no matter what I'm doing. So, but I love pretty much anything electronic music, whether it's dubstep, hardstyle, techno, disco, any of that stuff. I love it. But I'm a metalhead at heart. I grew up listening to metal, like 80s thrash, and now I mainly listen to like slam and hardcore. But
gotcha.
Yeah, but I still listen to a lot of the classics, like 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s classic rock. I listen to 2000s pop and stuff like that. The only thing I really don't listen to is modern country.
I get you. I'm in that boat too. I'm trying. I'm getting in there. Like Hardy has had a couple of good songs recently. He did some stuff with Falling in Reverse, which I've kind of jumped onto. Who else is there? Everybody loves Morgan Wallen, so like the poppier country is growing on me. But
I'm not trying because I don't care.
Yeah.
You will not convince me to listen to old stuff. Like throw on some like classic John Denver or something. All right, that's cool.
Okay.
Anything like past 2010, no, it all sounds like Florida Georgia Line, and turn it off. Make it stop.
I feel you on that. Are you so early Taylor Swift is in your genre, or no?
No.
Before when she was
That's one of the other few ones that I'd never got into is Taylor Swift.
Me neither. And you didn't hear it from me, but I hear all of her fans are crazy. So I stay clear of anything Taylor Swift.
I've been saying that. I don't need to hear it. I'm spewing it.
Especially when it comes to football season. If I see one more pan up to the booth and she's sitting up there, I'm going to throw hands with Roger Goodell.
You know what's funny is we were in the makeup room last night, and the game was on, and David's watching the game because they were going to announce the 2026 halftime show.
Right.
And they were like, it's got to be Taylor Swift. It's got to be. And I was like, if it's Taylor Swift, I swear to God, I'm moving to another country. I can't do it.
Cancel the Super Bowl.
As an artist, I think she's very smart with what she does. She has an empire. Musically, right. I fucking hate it. But
I'm right there with you. Like I have respect for, like I said, I always say it's not my cup of tea, but I respect what she has done, building up a brand, building up a following. Absolutely. Like that. She's super powerful and smart in that way. And I'm sure a lot of it too is the team around her. She's built a great team too. But at the same time, it's like, I can't jam out to that. Like I can't get in the mood for that, but
she's got more money than God. So she got her bag. Good for her.
No kidding. We talk a little bit about, sports and pop culture and stuff like that. What would we find you doing other than haunting maybe throughout the rest of the year when you're not building with Disturbia or working even off-season events?
Doing other music stuff, whether I am producing stuff, doing mashups, DJing, I play drums, bass. Other than music stuff, probably just with friends out on the motorcycle, working on the motorcycle, and watching movies and sleeping.
What
I
kind of
live a
motorcycle?
very uneventful life, and that's okay. No drama.
That's a good thing. What
Or
kind
at
of
the club.
motorcycle are you riding?
I have a 2005 Yamaha V-Star 650 Custom, which for listeners who don't know motorcycles is like a smaller cruiser. But I got some plans over the winter that I'm gonna give it a facelift.
Ooh, okay, all
Mhm.
right. I'd say, will we see that debut at the haunt, but there's not really room for it, especially when you're DJing, right? But also,
Well, you
you
missed
got
that during summer.
cough. Did you debut it?
Yeah. I rode my bike to the haunt Friday for Summer Screams, and I wasn't acting because David was in Texas doing an escape room job he got contracted for. So I was outside managing, and Luke was outside, and Luke is the guy I ride with pretty much all the time because he's got his Harley. And I gave him the keys to my bike, and I said, hey, it'd be funny if you pulled this around the front in character. And he did. So there's a
No
picture
way.
of him in the line on my motorcycle. Yeah, Sarah was not real happy with us.
Oh no. That's funny though. That's hilarious because they have the coffin
Everybody
car.
was just like, what the fuck? Like, where did he? Because I mean, we have the Jeep, we have the bus,
Right.
we have so many things with motors, but we don't have a motorcycle.
That's perfect. Well, hey, despite ruffling some feathers, we may need to see that bike out there one more time. Throughout maybe not
I'll bring it
during the
around.
actual haunt season because it gets pretty crowded in the line, but maybe another Summer Screams event. That seems like it fits the theme pretty well enough.
Yeah, nice out, just kind of like a party. So
No kidding. What was I going to say? I wanted to jump out of the Voodoo Personalities segment and jump right into another segment that I was hinting at earlier is the Frankenfuel, the Zombie Zap segment. This is all about what you are consuming to keep you alive through long haunt seasons and
okay.
long nights and stuff like that. I hope it's not a meatball sub or a chicken parm because those have been shared by the entire line. But are you a big energy drink guy, or what do you usually have up in the booth with you?
In the booth, I usually don't have anything. Occasionally, just a water, but I really try not to, have a drink up there with me.
Right.
But before that, a lot of Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
Big coffee guy.
If I'm really tired, a Monster. But yeah, I drink a concerning amount of coffee throughout the day. Even when I'm not haunting.
What's your go-to coffee order? Are you a couple of creamers, a little bit of sugar?
Large iced coffee with French vanilla and cream, no sugar.
There you go. Okay.
Or if I'm at Starbucks, vanilla sweet cream cold brew.
Okay. All right. He's got it on lock. And then
I'm simple. I was a barista, and I know how much pain in the ass it is when people are like, I want 16 pumps of cinnamon and then caramel and cold foam. And I'm like, your heart's about to stop, by the way. I think you should drink this on the way to the ER because your arteries are clogged. So I keep it simple.
That's all those Taylor Swift fans that are ordering that kind of stuff, I think. It's just
all right. Hey, you said that, not me.
Hey, yeah, they can come after me. I'll take the heat. I'll take the heat.
Hey, it's your name on that podcast.
Yeah. So this wasn't your first time trying Frankenfuel, was it? Did you get a chance to try it at MHC? Oh, it was. What'd you think of it?
That was actually my first. So originally, someone told me that they were like, oh, it tastes like Red Bull. And I was like, all right, immediately I'm out because I hate Red Bull. I don't like it. It tastes like what urine smells like to me. So they were, setting up shop and they were like, you want to try one? I was like, sure. Why not? I'm tired. So they gave me one and I was like, it tastes like the grape Monsters mixed with Smarties. It's actually pretty good. That was
Yeah.
the sugar-free one. I was like, oh wow, this is actually like good, because I was expecting it to taste like knockoff Red Bull, so worse. But no, I had it and I was like, oh wow, this is really good actually.
I'm not typically an energy drink guy. Like the most I will do, I think I've said it before, is like pre-workout if I'm going to the gym, but typically only
Mhm.
if I'm going to work out, right? Other than that, I'm also not a coffee drinker. I don't know how I do it. I may have to jump on that bandwagon at some point, especially in the various fields that I throw myself into, especially haunting. But I've been told that Frankenfuel tastes like Monster, but without the bad aftertaste. And of course, if you like Monster already, then that
Yeah,
you don't have like a bad aftertaste. So this was, I'm sure, along some of the same lines for you. Like you said, it
yeah.
tastes like the
It
grape
did
one.
remind me of Monster, but yeah, my mouth doesn't feel like I ate a battery. So
Yeah, that seems to be the consensus. So
mhm.
we're going to be getting a bunch of Frankenfuel here at Voodoo. Depending on how much we get, we'll have maybe some samples for people to try out front
Nice.
here as well. Maybe we'll have Mike come down and be out in front with us ahead of time. Some of the nights that we're open, we'll see what his busy schedule is like. But yeah, that is definitely a go-to for a lot of haunters at this point. That's what you're drinking. Any kind of pregame rituals as far as meals? Like, are you getting extra protein or carb loading before you're jumping into the DJ booth?
Not really. Just if I get food, cool. If not, all right, cool. By the time I'm like getting it, I eat before I get to the haunt. I always try to have a good meal before I get there, but that's at like 1 p.m.
Yeah.
And then I try to get food somewhere between that too, before the night starts. But
Yeah.
pregame ritual, I used to do, it was 15 push-ups and then 5 minutes of silence and thinking about my life choices. But now it's just I don't know. I don't have a ritual anymore. I just sort of do it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I
I
know.
wish I could give you a cooler answer, but
No, no.
I.
Hey, the truth is what the truth is, and
Mhm.
thinking, contemplating your life for a little bit, I'm sure is I wish I had that peace and quiet for a little bit. It feels like a nice calm meditation,
It's
but
not calm. It's all the. It's my brain going a million miles an hour just with haunt sounds playing in the background.
oh my
Yeah, whatever
goodness.
soundtrack of the room I'm in, plus the voices in your head.
Plus, I'm sure makeup is in there as well, unless you're throwing on a mask for something.
Yeah, a little bit of clown lung too.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, no kidding.
That
So
that is actually a term. Uh,
is it?
it originated from like traditional makeup. So like it's used a lot by like drag queens, is just a lot of the powders and stuff, just inhaling it. It's called clown lung from inhaling all this different makeup. So in the haunt, it actually kind of works better,
Yeah,
that
right. Yeah,
term. So
yeah, especially for people dressing up as clowns, or they look
mhm.
in the mirror and they go, "What am I doing with my life?" Right? Because
Yeah, at Shattered, yeah, Shattered 3D at Basement, just
yeah,
all the clowns.
exactly, exactly. All right, we'll jump out of the Frankenfuel segment, but go ahead and get your Frankenfuel. If you use code, I'll put it in the bottom. I totally forgot the code. It's been a couple of months, but I believe it's Voodoo Podcast. And then it'll pop up and say Mike Napolitano gave you 15% off, but that's really Mike Cassavant giving you 15% off. So thank you, Mike, and thank you, Frankenfuel, for keeping us energized. As far as uh, your DJing goes, we'll jump back into that a little bit. Do you prefer, now that the DJ booth is up on the 10-foot tall rig in the middle, or do you kind of like it better when you're center stage at Disturbia?
David, don't kill me. I missed the stage. It's cool being up there. However, the amount, getting an 80-pound flight case over your head onto the stage, getting everything hooked up, and then having to take it all down, especially like if it rains. Now I'm panicking because I'm outside, which is going to get solved because we're getting a tent in, as it stands, in 2 days.
Okay.
But just the amount of extra work has been a little bit of a pain in the ass. But no, I mean, the view it's really cool to be up that high. I kind of feel like I'm playing a boiler room set.
True.
But I'm as we get busier and it starts filling out back and I'm smack in the middle, I know I'll be like, all right, this is kind of sweet. But for the time being, I miss being able to just set my stuff up on the stage and then between nights unplug my computer, close it, and not have to take anything down.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I that was where I kept some of my stuff behind the stage when I was that Valentine's Day character, because
Yep.
I brought so much crap, including a chicken parm. Don't worry, I took the chicken parm with me. I didn't leave the food overnight, although I did leave
it
one or
gets
two
so
of those.
cold out there that, like, especially in February, it would have been fine. It's a refrigerator out there.
Basically, I wasn't going to waste any good chicken parm because I did leave a couple of those Reese's around, and there's haunt creatures that tend to take nibbles out of things. So I came back and I was like,
and we do have those. And so we are. Sarah is very strict about cracking down on food.
Yeah,
because
so I made sure
already
to get
mice and ants. So
yeah,
we don't need that chewing through everything, especially with how many cables and stuff are lying on that stage. And mice, from my experience with cars, they like to chew on those, especially where it's warm, because they think it's food.
No kidding.
And then nobody wins. They don't get fed, and now we have problems. So
write it in big mouse language. This is not food. Don't bite this. But yeah, so you mentioned the tent, and we've seen Disturbia put up a giant tent in the past. Is this going to be more of like a permanent stay for the line with this tent, or is this just kind of to combat the elements during the main haunt season and then gets taken down even for like the off seasons and stuff?
Yeah, this is not permanent. We are renting this tent. David has wanted to do permanent stuff, but because he doesn't own the building, he rents it. It's kind of at the discretion of whatever the landlord says is fine. So this is a temporary thing, but I mean, we make it pretty much as permanent as we can. So like we have lights up in there, and I'm putting even more lights in there this year, and then we attached a line to it. And we try to incorporate it as best we can into the line as if it was this quote unquote permanent structure, but it does get taken down. I believe it's like the second to last weekend, because our last weekend is like 1 or 2 days, and that's a hillbilly night and all of us just acting a complete fool outside.
No kidding. Yeah, I think I've been there for one of those hillbilly nights that you're talking about. So
it is interesting because it's mostly like we're all like half delirious, but we're willing to push the boundary a little bit. So it's us kind of just doing all the stuff that we may not do during the season because we'll get in trouble.
Yeah.
So like Birdie smashed his banjo in the parking lot, and so much happened we were playing like bowling with the garbage cans with Luke in the garbage can. Just it's debauchery, but it's really fun. It's like an end of season ritual, I guess, that Disturbia has.
You mentioned Luke. We have yet to have him on the podcast. That's coming. Hint, hint for the listeners. Do you have any funny stories since you've been with him, probably longest tenured of all of the Disturbia cast?
It's not the amount of stories. It's what can I say?
Right.
There's a lot of things I can't tell anybody about.
Yeah.
Ooh, should have thought about this before. I thought of one that's appropriate, or that Luke wouldn't kill me for saying publicly. And
keep in mind, he'll have a chance to defend himself when he comes on. So
I know, but that's the problem is I don't need that call from him being like, Sammy, what the fuck? Why did you say this on the internet? The convention stories are always the best because we just get up to whatever. We almost got kidnapped in St. Louis. I don't know if that's funny, but we did almost get kidnapped at Transform last year.
How does that happen?
So Sunday morning, the hotel we were at was like, you know where the City Museum is
Yes,
down
yeah,
there?
yeah.
The hotel that's connected to the City Museum. It's called the Last Hotel. It's like
Great
12
name to
blocks
get
down.
kidnapped.
Yeah. So we were walking to the convention center, and this like homeless person was like, I don't know if they're homeless or I think they were just like a tweaker or something, but they were like talking to us and like we're trying to be nice and like at least carry a little bit of a conversation. And they were like, "Do you guys like need a ride down there? Like I can give you a ride." And we were like, "No." And they were like, "Are you sure it's cold?" And we were like, "Nope." And so we kept walking.
And this was this year? This was
No,
at
that was
Trans
last year.
Oh, last year. Because I was going to say, I don't think it was that cold at Transworld this year. I
No,
remember
it
it
was
being kind of
warm.
nice out.
It was 70 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah. I had wore jeans and long sleeve. I think it was long sleeve. Haunt sweaters, of course, everybody in black sweatshirts. Down on that Friday, and I was like sweating in the car on the drive down there, and I was like,
Yeah, I don't even think I
off.
put my actual Disturbia sweatshirt on at all that convention. I just wore my jersey.
Right.
So I was like, it's too hot to wear a sweatshirt. So
yeah, no kidding. So yeah. Oh wow. Well, I'm glad you didn't take that ride and jump in with the stranger offering you candy in his van, and you guys are still with us here today.
Yeah. Well, it was a Toyota Highlander, but still.
Oh yeah. Man, oh
yeah,
man.
trust me, him and I have so many just funny stories together, but they're not going to make any sense or they're not appropriate to say to anybody else.
We'll save them for the Voodoo After Dark podcast,
Oh, God.
when I eventually get that going. So, yeah, that ain't happening. I
Yeah,
don't want to get anybody
plus
canceled.
Podcast.
yeah.
Yes, sponsored by OnlyFans.
yeah,
that's where you're going to put it. It's paid subscription, but it's just on a fan service site.
Listen, if I get that kind of subscription, I have done something very different with my life at that point, and you guys are never hearing from me again. I'm changing my name, moving to California or something like that.
You're getting a porn star name?
That'd be crazy. That'd be so long media career. Forget anything in sports.
Oh no, you'll still be in the media.
I don't think I'm allowed to at that point.
Well, no, you'll still be in the media, just a different sector of it.
Right, exactly. Because otherwise I go into those locker rooms and they're like, I don't know if he should be allowed in here. I recognize that mustache. But then again, if they're recognizing that mustache, I got some questions for them because that's.
Hey, I've seen you in a locker room before.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Remember that one video? Nah, no.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I saw your leaked asshole on Twitter.
Hey, we may or may not have talked about those Polaroid pictures with Tyler Booth, and that was on this podcast. So there we go. That's my sponsorship right there. Is going to be Cody going around with his camera, or
and
was that
showing
Rachel's
Tyler's
camera?
Butt to security guards. Yeah,
exactly. Did you ever? Was there a Polaroid of you at all at that point? I think you were okay.
I don't think so. I think
you're in the clear.
I think I was marked safe.
Your reputation is intact for now. Until they pull that Polaroid back out.
Oh, God.
Oh, my goodness. What is in store for the future of course, DJing at Disturbia, but also Sam's tenure at Disturbia? What do you have planned in the future? I know we're in the midst of haunt season right now, so it's hectic times, and I appreciate you for taking the time to jump on here during one of your off days, because it's going to get busy real quick here. But what do you have planned in the future?
For the future of Disturbia, we're just going to keep trying to we've lately been really priding ourselves on just putting as much detail into what we do as possible and really making stuff as immersive as possible with these newer rooms. So we're going to keep trying to do that and, keep building up. DJing, I would love to get out and, actually start playing some clubs. I've been a bedroom DJ for almost 5 years now. So I've been meeting some people and doing some looking. I'm trying to use this season to sort of really hone in my crowd reading abilities and just my skills in general. So I'll see where that gets me. That's not really high on my list of things to do right now, but yeah, just keep doing it. I love what I do. So whether it's haunting or DJing.
I'll give you a little behind the scenes that I don't think my voodoo crew even knows about is Disturbia. I'll just, not to let the cat completely out of the bag, but I'll just say Disturbia has influenced voodoo on Vassar in some musical ways this year.
Okay.
So we've got a couple of tricks up our sleeves that we take from all the haunts and see what we like and what works for our own creation. But if there's ever a time we do, I don't know if I reached out to, because I've tried to send the message out to everybody in the haunt industry, but if there's ever an off night for Disturbia that you'd like to come and either walk through voodoo, guest act with voodoo, or in your case, DJ at voodoo, just let me know what you need and we'll get you set up, and we'd love to have you, especially with your musical talents over here.
I appreciate it. Just DJing is fun, but it's also, like I said, it's a pain in the ass, especially when you're bringing all your gear, a PA system,
right?
Lighting you're bringing. It becomes a lot. So
I get you.
Thankfully, at Disturbia, a lot of what we have is built to be semi-permanent, so it takes less work off of my shoulders. But no, I plan on coming through this year, depending on timing and what I remember to bring from Disturbia. I might try and guest act. I'll see what happens. I know when you guys open during the week is when we start really getting busy. So
right.
I'll keep you updated on that.
No, yeah, absolutely. I'm sure even during those off days, it's a lot of fixing from the night before and all these things that people don't see behind the scenes. So you've got your work cut out for you this year and always, but you guys do a phenomenal job, and we can't wait to see what comes from Disturbia throughout the rest of this haunt season. I already got that sneak peek acting with you guys this past weekend, and Dave gave me one of the new hats, which is phenomenal. You guys should go out and get one of these because I don't know if you guys can see it on here. I got the green screen going, but I looked like I just had like a 5 head there. But you got the Disturbia pumpkin on the inside of the brim, which is really nice. And of course, I threw on my
you're talking
color
to me
mesh.
about a 5 head.
We've got the color match horror horns going on over here. I just happen to have the green that works perfectly. So Disturbia's got some cool things around the corner. Where can fans find you if they want to connect with you, or especially whether it's haunt or DJ wise?
Really, all I use for any sort of promotional stuff is Instagram. That's at Paranoise04. That's PARANOIZE04. Facebook, I'm only on it for Marketplace. Let's be so real.
There you go.
And then, that's really, I don't really use social media I just use it to intake things not put out right now. So just follow me on Instagram. That's where you're going to see stuff happening.
Sweet. Awesome, man. Thank you again for hopping on last minute notice. I know that the season gets busy, and of course, we'll have to talk to you again at some point and see how things are going, especially in the future, whether that be with the DJ booth side of things, whether you get elevated even more or go back to the stage.
I'm so famous playing the festivals.
And right. Yes, honestly, that too. So we'll see you at Lollapalooza or Riot Fest one of these days,
I can't wait to switch up on everybody and act like I don't know anyone.
I'll be like, hey, this is the proof. I had him on the podcast. He does know me. And then your agent's going to be like, sir, please take 10 steps back.
You're going to get a letter from my lawyer saying, hey, this piece of media needs to be removed.
Cease and desist. Yeah.
A cease and desist from like fucking 10 years ago.
He told some incriminating stories about almost getting kidnapped. So we'll scrap that whole thing.
Yeah.
You're killing my podcast dreams. No, but thank you again. And Sam, good luck on the rest of the season. And we will talk to you soon.
Thank you, man. You as well. Good luck with the build side and the management, acting side. I know you do pretty much all of that at the house. So, good luck with that. I know that it's difficult.
I don't sleep, and the house is cluttered. So if I get disowned or buried in the backyard, it's honestly for the best. So, but all right, Sam, thank you again, and we will see you throughout the season. Make sure everybody to get on out to Disturbia and check them out, and definitely give Sam a shout out or a big thumbs up when you see him in that booth.
Fridays and Saturdays, I'm spinning. I call it my little residency. And then Sundays, Thursdays, and then the one Tuesday and Wednesday we're open, I will be in character. So
nice. Well, cool. And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you again.
Of course. Have a good night, man.